All right, Mob, welcome back to the Cream of the Crop 4th and 31 podcast. Dig it. Your what? Wait, where'd Brant go? There he goes. Your one-stop shop for all things college and SEC football. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a minute. And head on over to YouTube, give us a sub so we can start doing these live shows. That'll be pretty fun. Again, it ought to be worth telling us we're an idiot in real time. I'm your host, part of the Killer Bees broadcasting team, Lee Chad Bullock, and tonight, Round 3, Tuesday night rivals. We've got the victor from last week, Brant Finebaum, Coach Bo. Round 3, here we go. I'm going to mute both of them.
Hold on, Chad. Before you
go ahead.
Before you do, I just want to say one thing. You know, when Chad says that if y'all haven't figured this out, we're the cream of the crop, it's our homage to the great Macho Man Randy Savage. So for those of you not familiar with with Mobile and Mardi Gras, one of the themes of the organization was wrestling, and they had a Macho Man float, and yes, they did throw Slim Jims. It was like a full circle moment. So, and yes, Chad, I was tweaking. So,
oh, dig it! Step into a Slim Jim.
I was literally eating Slim Jims as I was catching them. It was wonderful.
All right. Well, you know what I love? I love this mute button. We're gonna get started. All right. In case this is your first time joining us, which I hope it's not, I'll kind of go over the rules here. We have 5 questions. I'm going to give each competitor 2 minutes to answer a question while the other one is muted. When their time is up, whether they're done or not, I will mute them, unmute the next guy, and I will give points how I see fit. This is how this is going to work. All right. At the end of 5 questions, whoever has the highest score will be declared the winner and get a certain amount of time to talk about whatever they want. Sucking up to the host will get you automatic negative points. I'm giving you one warning, Brant, one warning only. All right. So here we go. Let me get the questions all ready. And we're going to alternate who goes first. So session 1, Bo went first. Session 2, Brant went first. So Bo, you'll get to go first. All right. Let's start it off. Question number 1. Tennessee QB Joey Aguilar has been granted a temporary restraining order against the NCAA rules. Your thoughts on this, and how does this affect the other quarterbacks on the roster? All right, Bo, your time starts now.
Well, I think it's absolutely terrible. Aguilar should not be allowed to play, and it has nothing to do with my dislike for Tennessee. 5 years to play 4. I mean, this is absolutely gone into complete insanity. But I will say this: if Aguilar comes back, he's my opinion, he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the conference. He led the league in passing last year. The offense will be of no issue. Plus, they have Jim Knowles. They'll be 5 to 7 points better on the defensive side of the ball. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tennessee will be a legitimate contender to win a national championship. However, if Joey Aguilar does not play, your guess is as good as mine, because I think I have taken as many snaps as George McIntyre has taken for the Tennessee Volunteers. He is supposed to be the next in line to don the quarterback position for the Big Orange. Now, he's a highly touted guy and brings a good skill set to the table, but he's very inexperienced. You can't replace all the football that Joey Aguilar has played, all the information he's processed, all that he's seen running that offense. He's as good of a quarterback running that Tennessee offense as we have seen since Josh Heupel has been at Tennessee. However, I do not think he should come back, not because it's anything I have against Tennessee. It's because at some point, the 60th or 70th year stuff, it has to stop. It has to come to an end, because that is not the purpose of college athletics. Again, you have 5 to play 4, and if Tennessee has Joey Aguilar, they are a contender. However, if not, it could take the Volunteers some time for their new quarterback or quarterbacks. I mean, you could be engaged in a real quarterback duel. They could.
Oh, time's up. Tough spot. Okay, so the points I liked. I love the 5 years to play 4. That should be across the board. I agree he would be a top 3 quarterback coming back. I like the fact that you brought up that you've played as many snaps as McIntyre. I thought that was kind of funny. And and the fact that he's just so inexperienced. So 4 points for that round. Brant, your time starts now.
I'm going to take a completely different approach, and I'm going to support Joey Aguilar. I hope he does come back. I hope anything. I hope he comes back more than anything, because it'd be another slap in the face in the NCAA, who at this point is literally on my shit list. I cannot stand them. I can't stand the fact they haven't stepped in for this yet. So I hope it keeps happening. I hope a whole team from another conference all sues them so they can all come back and play football, because it's the only way their problem's ever going to get realized and get big enough to be fixed. So until it gets fixed, I will support whoever sues the NCAA, because they need to learn their mistakes. They need to not only learn from their mistakes, they need to understand what's happening so they can not only fix it, but prevent it from happening in the future. I don't care if he plays. Look, I don't care if he plays at the University of Tennessee. We all know that that's a big rival for us. But I mean, I would much rather see him come back and the NCAA get, more shit thrown at him than him not come back and the NCAA get their way until this shit's fixed. Because until it's fixed, I don't care. I don't care for the NCAA. I don't care for anybody that sues them. None of that stuff bothers me anymore. So when it comes to that stuff, screw them. But now from a quarterback standpoint, of just being Joey Aguilar, I completely agree. But guys, we're attacking Joey Aguilar and sued the NCAA. How about we attack TJ Finley? I mean, let's attack people that have been here for 25 years. I mean, TJ Finley's paying Social Security, and he's still a quarterback in college. I mean, it makes no sense. We're going after the wrong people here. I mean, I'm sure you can go to any different team from a different conference and find somebody that's still been there longer than Joey Aguilar has been in D1 football. So I feel like just because he's the main point of conversation, because we're speaking about not only the NCAA, but we're also speaking about Joey Aguilar. Let's branch out a little bit and let's see the other problems that the NCAA is ignoring. I feel like we're looking at one thing and we should be looking at everything. Stop looking at one thing and look at the big picture.
Okay. Well, we're going to mute you. You ran a little under, but that's fine. I like the counter argument to this, because I do agree if he does stay, it is a slap in the face of the NCAA. 1 point for that. 1 point for bringing up TJ Finley. And I thought it was funny. I want to give you 1 point for saying he's drawing Social Security. And I like the fact that you said you support anyone who sues the NCAA, because I don't want to bring up Bediako yet, because that one's pissing me off now. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but the Bediako thing's making me mad. So, wow, we've got a good one brewing today, Mob. 4-4 so far. And we will go to question 2, and Brant, you will start on this one. Florida State OC Gus Malzahn has retired. As Bammers, we all lost sleep over the things he was able to do against our beloved Crimson Tide. Love him or hate him, you have to respect his achievements in his career. Reflect on his achievements, and what does this mean for Florida State in 2026? And Brant, your time starts now.
So I think it's funny that you say, in the question says you have to respect him, because I don't. I don't respect Gus Malzahn. I maybe would have until after they, walked up to the line and drew us all sides to beat us in an Iron Bowl. When I saw him and Bo Nix laughing with each other on the sideline, I lost all respect right there. That made me mad. But when it comes to a football coaching standpoint, I feel like Gus Malzahn has been that guy. And I mean, I understand that his time at UCF was not what everybody pictured either, but he leaves UCF, he goes to Florida State to be an offensive coordinator, and he does the unthinkable again and beats Alabama again. And nobody even talked about him all preseason. Nobody talked about Gus Malzahn being the offensive coordinator at Florida State. Everybody looked at Tommy Castellanos, or however you say his name, because he was talking all the shit. And Gus Malzahn took all that shit talk, made a game plan based around that guy, knowing that we couldn't stop running quarterbacks at his tenure at Auburn. So I think he realized what he had. I realized the recipe he had to cook with, and he cooked. So, I mean, as far as Gus Malzahn being I think he's a lot better coordinator than a head coach. I'll say that. He wasn't awful. He was not the worst Auburn's had by far. But I definitely think he's more of a one-dimensional offensive guy than he is for, offense and defense. His accomplishments, however, though, in the ACC were pretty short-lived. I mean, he was there for, a year? I think it really hurts Florida State going into next year, because they don't have that criminal mastermind behind the scenes. And as people want to talk about Florida State last year kind of falling off, look, guys, more stuff goes into a team falling off that bad than a coordinator or a player. I mean, that's a team problem at that point. There's plenty of teams who started out hot. I mean, hell, look at Penn State. Penn State did not lose any talent last year when James Franklin left, and they got worse. I mean, they literally became one of the worst teams in football. It's one coach didn't make that. The whole team fell apart. The whole team didn't want to play with each other. They didn't care anymore. They didn't practice like it. They fell off. That's just what happens. But going into 2026 for Florida State, they got.
Whoops. Time's up. So, you know what? I love how you just dissed, then this question came from the producer. So I loved how you dissed, you have to respect them. And you said, I don't respect them at all. Hey, I love it. Controversial, 1 point for that. Recipe for beating Bama at FSU, gave you one point for that. And I like the fact that you said it was just, more than just him while they were possibly falling off. So I like that. So 3 points that round. So you've got 7 total. Bo, your time starts now.
When he was the OC at Auburn, he won a national championship. Then in his first year as a head coach, they went back to the Natty and lost one. A lot of respect for him. He had to rebuild Gene Chiswick's mess. But the longer he got at Auburn, the worse his offense got. It became more of a jumbled up mess. He was at his best when he had his running quarterbacks, his mobile quarterbacks. The entire offense was designed around mobile quarterbacks. And then you go get Jared Stidham, who is the opposite of a mobile quarterback. And then they never developed their passing game. They've run a lot of high-low combinations, which are, from a coordinator perspective, are a lot easier to defend. And his time, just like in a lot of places, when you go to coach, it's going to end up you're going to get fired. I mean, very few people get to leave on their own terms. Let's put it that way. And the relationship soured. He started routinely losing to LSU and Georgia and Alabama, and then like I said, the offense became a jumbled mess, and then he never developed the offense past a mobile quarterback. So then you fast forward to his time here at Central Florida, which was very underwhelming. Then he goes to Florida State. It could not be a worse time for Florida State. Not only are they hemorrhaging millions of dollars every year, but then they go and recruit players specifically for this system. The portal closes. They're ready to start. I mean, spring ball is in less than 50 days, and he walks right out the door. So in order for Florida State to be successful here, they're going to have to promote from within, I think. But I thought that was a horrible move on his part to go recruit all those players to run the system, and then he leaves. And then so you've either got to go get somebody to come in and run a whole new system with his type players, or
dang it, I was wanting to hear what you were going to say. All right, so some good points again. 2 national championships. He did have to clean up a Chiswick mess that was absolutely terrible. Oh, what was that for? Hey, rules are rules, man. You know what? -1. You had 4, now you got 3. If you want to be that way, that's fine. I can do that. So I was going to give you one for few get to leave on their own terms. And he did have mobile quarterback woe. So you would have had 4. Now you got 3. Now it's tied because you want to. I should take 2 points off because you gave me 2 birds, but I'll let it slide this time.
Hey, you didn't say anything about insulting. All you said was we couldn't butt kiss. That's your fault.
Hey, mute yourself. You don't that I used the mute button. You don't touch it. You do it again, you're going to lose another point, and you'll lose back to back to Brant because of your insubordination. That'll be on you, man, not me. All right. Number 3. Cam Coleman leaves Auburn and heads to Texas. What can we expect out of him and his impact in that offense in 2026? We start with Bo this time. Okay. Well, I guess I should have left you unmuted. That's on me. All right. Your time starts now.
Well, Steve Sarkisian, I feel like is one of the absolute best offensive minds in college football. He's one of the best designers of plays in college football. And what I mean by that is using motions and shifts to get the right matchups that he wants to give his offense a huge edge. And now you have probably one of the top 3, 4 receivers in all of college football out wide. Texas was not very explosive last year. They were good, but they weren't very explosive. So he patches up the offensive line. He goes and gets the best wide receiver in the portal. He gets the top 2 running backs in the portal. And when you have a guy like Cam Coleman, it changes the whole dynamic of the defense, because some of these defensive backs are not going to be able to hold up. They're going to have to roll coverage. If you have to roll coverage, guess what? Somebody else is going to be open. Okay, it's going to the width in the entire length of the field is going to be wide open now, and especially with those running backs that they have, Texas's offense ought to be dynamic. Also, the way we saw Arch Manning develop in the second half of last season, and the show that he put on in the bowl game, where I think what did he throw for about 260 and ran for another 160, and had a handful of touchdowns. I mean, he showed you how dynamic that he can be, not only with his arm but with his feet, and with his development, that offensive acumen by Steve Sarkisian, those added weapons, repairing the offensive line. There's no reason that Texas can't win the national championship. Also, they added Will Muschamp as defensive coordinator, and everybody knows what he brings to the table. So, but when you get a guy like Cam Coleman, he demands attention. Defenses have to game plan around him to make sure, hey, this guy's not going to beat us. We can let these other guys get theirs, but he cannot beat us. And there are very few weapons in.
Oops, time's up. I'm waiting for a middle finger. I'm ready to deduct points, man. That's what I thought. Okay. So, made up for it on this time. I like the fact you talked about Sark as a play caller. Coleman changes defensive dynamic. Great point. I love the fact that you brought up the length and the width of the field, how, defense is going to have to cover that. Good point. Sark's offensive line repair and Muschamp as a DC was an excellent point. So you kind of made up for that. I gave you 5 that time. Brantster, Mr. Finebaum, your time starts now.
Well, having this became a lot tougher because I actually, for once, completely agree with Bo. So this, when it comes to Will Muschamp, I was definitely planning on getting a point for bringing him up. So thanks for that, Bo. But now that kind of got ruined. But Will Muschamp is a great addition. I do think Texas needs to worry about fixing their offensive line issues. And let it not carry over from last year. Because at the end of the day, y'all saw with Alabama, you can have all kinds of athletes on the field, but you don't have an offensive line that can block for the guy. It doesn't matter, which really will hinder their run game as well. But I think Hollywood Smothers coming from NC State and Alabama was a big pickup for them as well, even though they poached him or not. I'll say this, when it comes to Cam Coleman, and people, I think, really underrate Cam Coleman as much as hard as it is to say that, because a lot of people think he's, so good. But Auburn hasn't had the best time. Hasn't had the best couple of years with him on that team. And everybody wants to say, yeah, but he demands, the respect of DBs. I completely agree, because I know apparently that Cam Coleman is one of the highest graded one-on-one receivers in Auburn history, and I didn't even know that. So that was a good fact for me to learn. I'll say this as well about Texas. Everybody wants to talk about Arch's inconsistencies, over the course of last year, even though towards the end of the year, Arch became really well. I'll never forgive Steve Sarkisian for not winning a national championship at Alabama with Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, DeVonta Smith, and Jalen Waddle. So when it comes to his dynamic play calling, I think he just took a year off. Anyway, so when it comes to Steve Sarkisian with all kinds of weapons, I do completely agree that he is probably one of the most dangerous coaches in college football. But I think you have to depict a little bit more than that. I think you've got to worry about the O-line. I think you've got to worry that Arch's inconsistencies don't come back, because everybody thinks that he had a great end of the year that it's just going to carry. And that's not necessarily how it always happens. Maybe those inconsistencies come back and they come back to haunt Texas in the long run. But, not a lot of people believe that. Especially he's got a little bit more playing time under his belt, and, he's been playing.
You know what? I'm feeling a little generous tonight. I'll give you Muschamp, because both of you brought it up. That was one I was kind of looking for in this answer. I like that you kind of said the Bama O-line. No matter how many athletes you got, if your O-line ain't good, then your offense is going to struggle. We saw that firsthand. I like the fact that you brought up Coleman was the highest rated wide receiver at Auburn, and I love that you brought up that Sarkisian was a dangerous coach. So that was a great round. 4 on that one. So after 3 rounds, if my Davidson math is correct, it is 12-11. Bo is up just by a smidgen. No more middle fingers. He could be up a little bit more, but it is what it is. All right, so Brant, you get the next one. Dabo Swinney has dropped as a top head coach in college football. What can he do to reestablish himself as a top coach in college football, or has the game passed him by? Brant, your time starts now.
It's hard for me to say that the game has passed him by, because most people would really kind of use his age as more of an aspect for that. But I mean, hell, look at Kurt Signetti. I mean, I don't think the game's passed him by. I want to completely knock that out of the park, guys. I don't think the game has passed Dabo Swinney by. Dabo Swinney's a damn good coach. He recruits well for what he gets. I mean, he started using the portal. My big thing with Dabo, man, and this goes out to all the people at the Clemson, University of Clemson or Clemson University, whatever it is. I think the best way for him to be relevant again is to leave. I think he's got to get out of Clemson, South Carolina. And as much as I want to say it's, trying to go to a better program, because there's not a lot of better programs than Clemson, to be honest. I mean, Clemson's got the winning mentality. They have the national championships in recency. I think it's more so the fact that I think not only has the university given up on Dabo, and they won't admit it, I think the athletic program has given up on Dabo. And I think that deep down inside, he loses 2 more big games this year, or maybe 3 like he did last year. I think he's kicked to the curb. And I honestly think that would be the best thing for Dabo Swinney is to lead Clemson. And he didn't have to go to some premier program. Dabo has brought Clemson back to glory. I mean, he made them what they are. I think if he goes to any kind of decent school, whether it's, in the ACC or somewhere else, I think Dabo would make that a winning football team. I think he's kind of ready to step out on his own anyway. I think he really wanted the Alabama job when Nick Saban retired, and it just didn't work out in his favor. But all in all, guys, I mean, if we're judging this guy based off recency in the last decade, hey, 2 national championships ain't too bad. So I think when it comes to Dabo, I think people really need to take a step back and kind of see what he's done for that university and what he can do for you if he does get fired this year or he leaves, on his own accord. I just think it's all about figuring out what you need and what you want. And I think the university is ready to step away from Dabo. And I think they really want to find somebody who's going to be younger and more dynamic coach, who's going to come in there and take over in defense and make them a defensive powerhouse again. So when it comes to Clemson, I think that they have a lot of room to work with. I just think that they're just looking for something different in coaching.
Button. My fault. Okay. All right. That was some very good points. I like the you made the good point that he still recruits pretty well, and he did start using the portal. I know he was down on that for a while, and I think that was part of his problem. And then your simple answer just needs to leave and go somewhere else. I thought that was a great point. Athletic program down on him. He did bring him back to glory. That was a good point. And I like the point that you said everybody just needs to take a step back and, realize what he's done. So that was a great round. So that was 5 for, we'll call you 5 bomb. All right. Bo, your time starts now.
There are 4 active coaches who have won national championships, and Dabo is one of them. I don't think the game of football has passed him by. I just think modern college football has passed him by. He is so unwilling to adapt to modern college football that I don't think he is a viable commodity anymore. I view Clemson as a 6-6, 7-5 program now. That's where I see them. You look at their recruiting; they've fallen off to they're recruiting 4th, 5th in their own conference. They finished. You're talking about a season in which they lost to Syracuse. Okay. Clemson has fallen so far, so fast. They both need an amicable split. And I have a solution actually for Dabo, and it's not coaching, because I just don't think that coaching in modern college football is for him. There comes a time where you just have to move on. I mean, Gary Patterson at TCU, great defensive coordinator, great head coach. But there just comes a time where one coach stays at a program so long, it just goes sour. It gets stale. But an amicable split would be for Dabo Swinney to retire and to go to and be on a committee for the college football to try to preserve some semblance of college football. And what I mean by that is to try to put some guardrails into college football, try to put some safety rails up for these players, try to make sure that the transfer portal, the calendar, everything all works together. I think he would be a perfect guy for that, to do that. But as far as coaching anymore, I'm not saying the guy's forgotten football.
Time's up. All right. Great. Some good points here, too. He is one of a few active head coaches who do have a national championship under their belt. And I do agree. I'm glad you clarified modern football, because it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like he's so stale there right now. It does seem like they're like a 6-6, maybe 7-5 at best program. I like the point you brought up about Gary Patterson. That was almost damn near a mirror of what's going on. And then I like the idea of you putting him on a committee. He can quit whining about coaching and, whine about other things. So those good points there. So I gave you 5 for that one. It's 17-16 going into this last question, boys. Bo is up right now, and he will go first on the last question. And here it is. The college football schedule changes in 2026 are interesting. The committee chose to not expand and keep it at 12. No New Year's Eve games to avoid competing with the NFL. Quarterfinals, January 1st. Semifinals, January 14th and 15th. No Saturday games. Not a fan. 2-week break between quarter and semifinals. Okay. Bo, your time starts now.
It's all crap. That's like the worst schedule ever. Let me tell you how they can fix it. Start college football on week 0, which would be August the 28th. Okay. Week 0, but it's actually a week 1. And do your conference showdowns like we talked about before. Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC. Get all the G5s involved, and you basically have this big, I don't know, like almost like a jamboree type to start the season, but it counts. Okay. Then you play the rest of your regular season. You have your 14 weeks because everybody has 2 bye weeks. No conference playoffs. Get rid of it. So everybody's got 12 games on their resume and only 12 games. So that way nobody could try to get boosted on the 13th game, or people can gripe about the 13th game if the team loses. So then give Army, Navy their week. Their week by themselves. So that would be December the 5th. They play. On that next Tuesday, you start playing bowl games. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you play bowl games. Saturday, you have your first round of playoffs. Your first 2 rounds of playoffs, everybody's at home. The higher seeds are at home. You go 1 versus 12, 2 versus 11, so on and so forth. When you get to the 3rd round, that is when you start playing your big neutral site games and you start playing in your big bowl games. So you play your 2nd-tier games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You fill the calendar out all the way up to, and then you would play your championship on January the 2nd. And that would help fix college football. And then you don't have the long layoffs, and you don't have the number 1 seeds going 1-7 in your after their bye. You keep the continuity. You keep the continuity going. Everybody has a bye week. Everybody has a week to get rested.
All right, and scene. All right. 1 point for calling it crap, because that's what it is. I like the week 0, kind of like a Big 10 SEC showdown like they do in basketball. That's a great addition. I really like the no championship game. I don't think they'll ever do it, but they're the dinosaur. They're the thing of the past. You don't need them anymore. I love the fact that you brought up Army Navy weekend. They need their own weekend. I like that. And I just love I love your continuity. So I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that one. All right, Brant, you are in striking distance. Your time starts now.
So main thing, I'm just gonna speak for. I'm gonna speak for myself, but I feel like I'm speaking for a lot more people. There's no reason to have a 2-week break between quarterfinals and semi. There's no reason. Now, I know they want to say we got to give the kids time to get healthy. We want them to be able to be prepared to play the next team. Dude, during the regular season, they get a week. That's it. That's all they get. On the two rare occasions that they have bye weeks, they still get a week. There's no need. These guys need a month to prepare for another team. It shouldn't happen. And I mean, I'd go far as to say when it comes to schedule changes, dude, you got to start thinking about the kids, man. I mean, what would they have? 2.5 months till they turn around for spring ball? I mean, dude, these kids, yeah, they're athletes and they're athletic or academic athletes, whatever you want to call them. They're still kids. These kids, they're still 18, they're still 19, they're still 20. Like, give them time to live their lives as well. I mean, God, let them finish a national championship, hopefully, and either lose or win, and go and let them just go be themselves for damn 3 or 4 months before they go back to their job of playing football in the SEC. I mean, when it comes to the whole playoff system in general, I think it's stupid. They should have never left 2 teams. The BCS should still be the national championship. We could trust, that's the only time we could have trusted a computer more than we can trust a committee. So, I mean, as far as that stuff goes, it's all bogus. It's all stupid. It'll never change. All they care about now is dollar bills. And the only way they can get it is keeping it the way it is or expanding it to 16, to 24, whatever they want it to be now, and ruining college football again. Once again, screw the NCAA. Can't stand them. It's their fault that all this is happening. And until any of it's fixed, I don't care anymore. I hope it goes to 64 teams. I hope we have January madness. And I hope it ruins everything that college football stands for, because the only way you're going to fix it now is to burn it to the ground and watch it build itself back up. And for my wrestling people, that's what
Well, wrestling people ain't going to want to know because you went over. All right. This is going to be close. I did like your, no 2-week break. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, that's ridiculous. You don't need a 2-week break. I mean, it's just to make the season. It's kind of like what the NFL does with the Super Bowl and the playoffs now. You want the season to go as long as you can so you have something to talk about. I don't like that. I thought your BCS take was kind of interesting. I'm not a fan of 2 teams because, I think, there are years when 2 teams deserve to at least play in a playoff. I like at least the 4. Your point about the money is dead on, because that's all. This is just a big conglomerate. All it is money, money, money. Screw the athletes, screw the sport, and we're seeing that right now. And go to 16. I like, I don't think 32, but my opinion, I think 16 and done. I gave you 5 for that. And if my Davidson math is correct, Bo wins this one 22-21. And this was probably the best one we've had. All right, Bo, you get however long you want.
First off, good job, Brant. That was a really good discussion, and that's what we're on here for, is a substantive college football substance. Not gonna lie to you, good substantive talk. Not gonna lie to you, feels good to win. But everybody wins when we have discussions like this, because we're talking about real stuff and real issues and stuff that I think real college football fans care about, not just the drive-bys have no idea. They could care less. So, but what I wanted to say is I was thinking about this the other day, and I came up with, and I hinted to this with Dabo Swinney, about a commission to set up college football with college football people to run college football, to make it run efficiently, to get the calendar right, to have some oversight, and to make things work. So obviously Nick Saban would be the commissioner. There's no question about that. Now, there would be a 12-person body, and I came up with these names myself, okay? I was thinking about it. These are just good college football people who I think would probably be interested in doing it. But the 12, and of course, anytime there's a vote, if there's a tie vote, say the 13th vote obviously would go to Nick Saban. But the 12 people that I came up with to represent this CFP committee, or just this college football committee: Kirk Herbstreit, Kirby Smart, Kirk Ferentz. I got some current people and some retired people: Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Mac Brown, Teddy Bruschi, Mark May, Dabo Swinney, Josh Pate, Yes, that Josh Pate. I think he would be great at that. Aaron Donald's a business mogul. He's a developer. He's a builder. He's an investor. In other words, the brain's always turning. I think he's a smart guy, and he's still young. And one of my personal favorites, Jimmy Johnson. I think those guys would be a great. I think there's some good gaps in age there. You kind of got some old and new. You got retired. You got current. You got players. You got coaches. And then on the administrative side, the rules committee would be headed by Mike Riley, the former Oregon State coach. I love Mike Riley. I thought he did a heck of a job there. My investigative committee would be Gary Pinkel. Remember the old Missouri coach? If you notice in these positions, there's going to be a lot of head coaches. Why? Because they're used to running large organizations and getting results. Okay, because that's what we're all about, is getting results. The NIL committee would be run by Andrew Luck, Stanford guy, smart. And again, these guys would have teams of people that would work under them to get done whatever they need to get done. I'd put Mark D'Antonio, the former Michigan State coach, in charge of all bowl games. I'd put Chris Alt in the head of the playoff committee. Now, if you don't know who Chris Alt is, he invented the pistol offense at Nevada. Again, an innovator, a creator. Those are the kind of people we need. And again, he fits that pedigree, running a large organization, used to being in charge of getting results. And the man who would control the portal, Bob Stoops. So I think if you had a committee like this, where you had people who actually had a love for college football, a passion for college football, and it meant something to them, and they could actually have some oversight in what they do, they could get this stuff cleaned up. It wouldn't take that long. But it's just a thought. It was just something I was just sitting down. It's like, hey, let's have some fun with this. Let's see who we can come up with. And I just think those would be good people that are good for college football.
All right. Hey, real quick. I saw Brant, you shook your head at a couple of those names. You're unmuted. What you got?
No comment, man.
Oh, come on. I'm giving you a chance.
Come on.
Look, all I'm saying
that's what we're here for.
There was a guy on there that was associated with Ohio State. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I think you can go ahead and cross that name off.
Let's get with Ohio State.
But I will say, I think Gus Malzahn needs to be on that list. Not only was he a head coach at a major college football program in Auburn, he's been to UCF. He was a head coach. He's kind of seen the smaller scale of things. And he's been a coordinator, so much as recently as last year. So I think he's really kind of got a good grasp on it as well. And I think he'd really bring a lot to that table as well. But it's probably the only reason I made a face is, don't get me wrong, I love Kirk Herbstreit. I really do. I think he's very smart. I think he loves the game, which is hard to find these days, especially in the state it's in. But he went to Ohio State. So that kind of just ruins all credibility.
Well, there was two other people that I thought about. I thought about putting them on there, but I started running out of room. Is one, I thought about putting Bo Jackson on there, but Bo doesn't even really follow football anymore.
Well, Bo knows.
But I mean, Bo is I think he's so removed from football now. He did an interview with Clay Travis the other day. Go listen to it. I mean, he doesn't even watch the game anymore, really. So, but I think a guy like him, I mean, his presence, like, for example, I think Bo would be great if we were going to go on a nationwide tour and we needed a headliner to speak to the crowd about, motivation and commitment and doing the right things and all that kind of stuff. I think that's how Bo could head this up. But
maybe maybe kind of like an ambassador to the game.
Yeah, like an ambassador, we send him out whenever we need somebody to put a good face forward and to do good. The other guy I thought about maybe was RG3. I also thought about Doug Flutie too.
Not Jameis.
Those were
not Jameis Winston.
Definitely not. We need people that can actually speak intelligible sentences and be able.
He's got a lot of passion, man. He might be pretty good.
And to be able to speak coherently about a thought. So
just don't get him nowhere near the seafood section of the store. So.
Yeah, no doubt, because he's the old criminal. The old criminal's gonna eat that thing up. But But anyway, there's so many people that you could put on there that I think would really be good. And there's some people on there I would have loved to have put, but they're older, like Tom Osborne or Bill Snyder.
But JD
Bill
Patel,
Snyder is probably the most underrated coach of all time. I mean, these guys are like in their late 80s now. And I don't know if you'd really want to put them on the committee, or Barry Switzer. I thought about Barry Switzer, but Barry
Brian
Switzer's
Bosworth. Brian Bosworth.
Barry Switzer's like 88.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all realize how old Barry Switzer is.
I mean,
but I definitely one guy that definitely was crossed off the list immediately was Mike Gundy, because at one time he was 40. He was a man. He and man is
now he's a grandfather. He's 60.
Yeah, now he's a grandfather and he's fired.
One guy that neither one of you said, and I think he got lost in the back in several years ago when they swapped from Dr. Pepper to this new Fansville, was Larry Culpepper.
Larry Culpepper.
Yes.
Larry
that
Culpepper.
guy.
We could run our ad agency through Larry Culpepper. With the flip shades he wore in the visor, he gave me a kind of 90s Spurrier vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he was definitely a throwback, man.
That's the whole thing is it was a throwback, and you have him, and you got, like you said, Bosworth and Fansville.
Yes.
Bosworth. But look, you can say whatever. Of course, he had the injuries in the pros, which cut his career short. But go watch him play in college. That's one of the greatest college linebackers to ever play. That guy was just a human highlight reel every game. I mean, he cleaned. He was there. He cleaned everything up. I mean, it didn't matter. Somebody missed a tackle. It didn't matter. He was there.
But let me throw two more names at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
JD Patel.
Oh, he's Ivy League guy. Probably smart. He'd probably be really good too. Yeah, I agree. I like JD. JD's really good.
All right, Cam Newton.
Yeah, but he can't wear those ridiculous hats and his scarves. He's got to dress like somebody that's like a more modern type professional. He can't look like Johnny Depp off The Secret Window. He's got to wear actual like legitimate clothes and get rid of the hats. And now look, there are some times where he says some things that make pretty good sense. But I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
I think he'd be the guy in the room with the sleeves cut off. He's like, I look like a banker in this. If anybody gets the reference.
Could be. But Ricky Vaughn. But if we're gonna have Cam, of course, and another guy that I left off, and I can't even believe I left him off, was Tim Tebow.
He'd be a good one. He'd be a really good one.
He would be a good one. But who definitely wouldn't be on there is Paul Finebaum. There ain't a bat chance in hell Paul Finebaum would be on my committee. No way.
That's crazy. That's an awful take.
You could have Finebaum. You could have Legend. You could have Jerome.
You could have Chad. You could have Bo, Scott, Brant. You have all of us.
All right, we're gonna shut this one down. We're starting to ramble a little bit. All right, Mob, let us know what you think. This 30-minute show is about to turn into an hour and a half if I don't stop these boys from yapping here. So, for Brant Finebaum and Coach Bo, I'm D. Chad saying we will see you next time.